Alrighty, what's going on, guys? It is Killer Drone, and welcome back to the Killer Drone channel. Today, we're going to be covering more Fortnite. In particular, we're going to be taking some more looks at the walls and how the Husks are targeting, how the AI is working, and how they are exactly thinking about the walls. So, I got a good comment in the last video in which I'm going to show on screen now, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and test his theory. His name was Nick. I will show the comment on screen now, and then later on in the video, I'll actually read it to you guys piece by piece, and we will go through it and see what all he said that was correct and what all he said that may or may not be incorrect. So, but let's go ahead and let's go over the methods that we were testing. A lot of you guys had some issues with the test that we ran last time, so we're going to try and resolve those issues to the best of our abilities. So what we did was we actually did sandwiched walls all the way along here in Plankerton. And the reason for that is so that they would avoid these areas completely, and that way we can funnel them in the middle. Why are we funneling them in the middle? To test the theory of time. So let's go ahead, let's get up here on top of these walls, and I will show you exactly how these tests are going to work. So the first test that we are doing is actually we're going to have these 3 tunnels, all of the same length, and what we've done is we've put some barriers in these tunnels. And theoretically, what we thought would happen was if we have one wall way back from the other two, what the Husks would actually do is they would go as far as they possibly can before they would tear something down. So theoretically, they have a much longer path that they can go before they have to actually start hitting something. Whereas these two, they are very close to the front. Theoretically, our thoughts are they're going to go down this path. Now, notice all of them are going to have the same amount of health because they are the same amount of material, or the same type of material. So theoretically, they all have the same health. They just have a longer path at this point. So the time is not really different at this juncture. More of, can they progress more tiles in a shorter amount of time? That's more of what we're testing here. Also, a lot of you guys were asking about if they were going to spawn on one side. So the way that this storm shield defense is actually happening is they're all spawning like right here in this middle area. And what we did was we opened up the storm shield all 3 blocks. That way, no matter which direction they come, let me see if I can get back up there because I just fell. That way, no matter which way they come, they all have direct access to the storm shield. So let's go ahead, let's fire this thing up, and I'm pretty sure they're going to spawn from the west, and we'll have to restart this, but
shield power increasing.
Let's go ahead and see. Yes, they're going to start from the west, so I will be back in just a second, guys, whenever they are attacking from the north. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be doing the test that I described in the last clip. All 3 walls, all 3 tunnels are the same. They're just staggered, and we also have them all funneling through a central position here. So theoretically, they should all come to this area before moving forward. And let's see what direction they come. Theoretically, they should go directly through this middle tunnel. Since it is based on time, that should be the quickest route. It does look like that's exactly what they did. So that's the end of the test. Alrighty, guys, so now what we're doing, we have another test set up here. This time what we're going to do is we're actually going to variate the strength of the walls. So what we did was we did a normal wood wall here, another normal wood wall, again staggered, even though we don't think that that's actually affecting it at all. And then we did another half wall way back here. Theoretically, this one should be the least amount of time because it has the least amount of health. But let's go ahead and let's give it a try and let's see exactly what happens. Okay, so lucky for me, we actually set up both the north and the west side to do the exact same thing. So both sides are actually set up for the test. So let me just go over here. It's going to be a slightly different viewing angle. Alrighty, guys, so just once again explaining this test, it's the exact same thing except we have a 1 low wall on the leftmost side. So theoretically, that is the time, or the least path of time. So hopefully they will go down that side, maybe.
The fort is falling.
But it appears that they are still continuing to go through the middle. Very interesting. Let's go ahead and let's leave the party. Okay, so maybe they don't look at health at all of the path that they have to do. Maybe they just look at the number of obstacles that they have to go through. that's very interesting. Also, it looks like we did have one escape through the left side. We'll have to go and patch that hole. I'm imagining they broke through the floor. But yeah, it definitely looks like they are continuing to funnel through the middle. So I'm wondering if we put like a higher tier wall in that middle tunnel, if they will then flow to the two outsides. So let's actually set up that test and let's see what happens. Alrighty guys, so sticking with the theme of time, exactly what we're going to do now is what we've done is we've taken a tier 2 wood wall and then we have taken two 1/3 walls. Both of these add up to a health of 460, and then this one we have damaged to where it now has a health of 460. Now, some people were saying that the percentage of damage doesn't actually matter because in the last test, our test was actually toward the left side because that was the closest to the storm shield. They were going toward it. So this will be a good test. If this one is... if the damage percentage actually means something, then they'll go toward this wall. If the damage percentage doesn't actually mean anything, then they will probably choose. They'll probably split between these two and see which one they go toward. So let's go ahead and let's see exactly what happens. We did this for both of these sectors, both north and west, so no matter which way they come, we should be good. Okay, so this one is set up the exact same way. We also did repair the funneling, so everything should funnel correctly now. And everything should come through this one block gap here. So let's see exactly what happens. Except for that one, apparently. He wanted to jump the other way. But even the ones that are funneling directly through the middle, every single one of them are going toward the right side. So it does appear that damage percentage done to a wall does have an effect. Okay, interesting. All right, let's go ahead and leave the party. I'm wondering now if it is damage percentage or the percentage of damage that is done toward the wall, or if it's that the left side actually had more things that it had to go through, but they were the same health. So that's very interesting. And even though the right side was tier 2, they still went to that over both of the tier 1 1/3 walls. Very interesting. I think we have another test here now that we need to run. We need to figure out if the number of obstacles actually plays a role or if it's just the health. So let's go ahead and let's set up a test for that. Alrighty guys, so now we're going to try and eliminate the damage done to an object in order to see if it is actually a factor. So what we've done is we've got the exact same health here by playing around with some numbers. What we did on this side was we have a tier 2 wood wall, and it has, let me show you guys, it has 790 health. So if we go over to this side, what we did was we put 2 brick 1/3 walls, and then we put 1 wood wall of 1/3 as well. And this actually, if you add up all of them, you have 230, 280, and then 280, that actually equals up to 790. So they are the exact same health on both sides. So theoretically, we're going to see if the damage done actually does play a factor into them, or if the amount of objects that they have to go through plays a factor into them. So basically, if they go through this wall, we'll know that, or if we go through these walls, we will know that the amount of objects that they have to go through doesn't matter. However, if they go through here, we will know that damage isn't necessarily a factor and that the amount of things that they have to go through is more of a factor. So let's go ahead, let's start it up, and let's give it a try. We have it set up the exact same way on both paths once again. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, guys, so once again, we are up here. We have the 2 1/3 walls and a wood wall, and then the 1 tier 2 wall. All of them are being funneled to the center here. So let's go ahead and let's see exactly where they go. Hopefully the funneling works correctly and they don't get out anywhere. Looks like we have one that's way over there. Okay, interesting. So it doesn't look like the amount that they were damaged actually matters. It looks like they are more concerned about that they have to go through more objects. Even though the health is the same on both paths, they have all went to the right side. Very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and leave the group. Okay, so that actually answers most of the questions that we had. So first off, we know that time is definitely a factor. We know that damage done to a wall doesn't exactly mean anything. and that the amount of obstacles that they have to go through do mean something. Alrighty guys, so we do have another test set up here. The question that we had was, a lot of people have been using these mazes of death. My question is, are they going to prefer a straight line that actually has a barrier to it, or are they going to rather go through the zigzag? So what we did here was to try and make it comparable as far as time goes, is we did a tier 2 wood wall here, and then we did a zigzag with no obstacles all the way through here. Theoretically, this one is going to take a good amount of time, but also taking down this wall is also going to take a good amount of time. So which one are the Husks going to prefer? We've set this up on the north and the west side once again. So let's go ahead and let's give it a test. All right, guys, so here we go. We have the maze on the left side, and we have the wall on the right side. Let's see which way they prefer to go. Okay, so it looks like most of them are preferring to go to the most direct path, even though it means that they have to take down a wall. I'm wondering if we increase the health of that wall, if they will actually change their mind and go down the other path where it's the maze. So we'll go ahead, we'll set this up again. We will actually put, let's do like a tier 2 metal wall, and let's see if they go that route instead. So we'll be back in just a second. Alrighty guys, so I have another test set up here. This time what we have is we have tier 2 brick here instead of tier 2 wood, and then we have our same maze path here that we actually have to go down. I did the exact same thing over on the west side. Again, tier 2 brick, and then just a maze that they have to go through. So let's go ahead and let's start this up and let's see exactly what has to happen. There is a theory that we have. We have a theory that they're going to do the most direct path to the target and not necessarily the least amount of time to the target. We're going to have to test that some more in order to see, but it is a theory that we have. Let's go ahead and looks like they are going to spawn on the north side this time. All right, so once again, we have a maze on the left side. We have a direct path with a wall in it on the right side, and then they are all being funneled to the middle here. So let's see which direction they actually choose. Very interesting. It looks like they are all going to the direct path on the right side. That is very interesting. It doesn't look like they particularly like going through mazes if they don't have to. Now, I'm wondering if the time thing is actually a factor now, because it looks a little bit like they're just going to the most direct path. Let's try with tier 2 metal and let's see what happens. We'll have to upgrade some of our other things that are around the base in order to get those to tier 3 so they won't touch it. But let's upgrade that to tier 2 metal and let's see exactly what happens and what goes on. Alrighty guys, so sticking with the theme of time, we're doing the exact same test, except this time we actually have a tier 2 metal here in this path and the exact same maze here. Theoretically, this maze is actually going to be much less time than taking down this metal. But let's see exactly what the Husks prefer, and let's go ahead and start it. We have it both the same on the north and the west side. Let's get after it. Alrighty guys, so here we go. It looks like they're spawning in. Once again, we have the maze on the left-hand side, and then we have the tier 2 metal on the right-hand side. All of them are being funneled to the middle. Let's see which path they take. Wow. Okay, so I think that time does play a role in this. I definitely do. However, it does look like they would rather take the most direct path that they can rather than being mazed. So I think that if there is just multiple straight paths, then it will look at the time. However, it looks like they look at the amount of distance that they have to travel as being greater time than actually things that they have to tear down. That's really interesting. I like that a lot. At least that we figured that out. Alrighty guys, so we actually changed up this exact same test just a little bit. What we did was we took the little end caps off of the maze. Instead of them having to come over to a one tile area, they actually now have a full tile in order to come through. We did that on both this side and on the other side. So let's go ahead and let's run it and let's see if that tile being fully open, if that actually makes a difference or not. I'm imagining that it's not. I think that these things are still going to go on the most direct path, but it will be a nice test to just confirm it. Alrighty guys, so just to confirm, we have the maze on the left side, we have the direct path on the right side. Let's see exactly where these husks tend to go. Even with the maze shortened, they are still going to the right-hand side. Very, very interesting. Oh, it looks like we have one go to the left side. But the vast majority of them are going to the right-hand side of the maze. Very interesting. So these guys they definitely care about the distance traveled. They care about how far they have to go in order to get to an objective and not necessarily the time that it takes to get to that objective. Very interesting. It seems like there's a multitude of factors that's actually going on here. It looks like they are looking at the distance that they have to travel. Then it looks like they're also looking at the amount of things that they have to break down. And then it looks like they're also looking a little bit at the time as well, as far as how much time it's going to take to go through a particular object over another. So looks like they have a very complex AI here, and then as a failsafe, kind of like what Nick said in his comment, as failsafe in case nothing else is working, they just attack the first thing that they get to. That seems like that's pretty much how the AI works here in the game. If you guys have any other tests that you would like me to run, please let me know in the comment section down below. Alrighty guys, so we actually have one last test here that we want to run. We wanted to see what is the worst case scenario and if we can actually force these zombies to go through the maze. So what we did here was we made a tier 3 sandwich on this side, and on this side we made the same maze just with tier 3 bricks so they wouldn't break right through it. And let's see exactly what happens. We have the same thing over on this side. Let's see if they will either run through it or if they will, if they'll try and take down all that metal. So let's go ahead and let's start it up and let's see what happens. All right, so here we go. The maze is on the left. The tier 3 sandwich is on the right. Let's go ahead and let's see what happens. They should all funnel through the middle here. Yes, they are. Here we go. Okay, so they do not like that tier 3 wall. They would rather take the maze, so there is a way to force them down a maze using sandwiches. Okay, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. There is a way to force them, but it seems like if they can, if they have another choice other than going through a maze, they will do that. But these sandwiches seem to be the best way in order to make them go into the mazes themselves. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I know this video is already long, but I just want to add a little bit of post-commentary and just kind of give a wrap-up of this entire Walls series and what exactly we have figured out from all of our testing, exactly what's going on. So it looks like how the husks actually work is they use the shortest distance traveled in order to get to a particular target. Now, if that distance traveled happens to be the same, then it seems to revert back to the amount of time that it actually has to go through in order to get to the target. So it seems like there's a little bit of a complex algorithm that's going on here, but it is very interesting and it actually makes the game somewhat manipulative if you actually think about the ways that you can use all of this information to your advantage. It seems like there's some really interesting trap designs that you can do to where they will pretty much never reach your base. You're going to have to actually force them into mazes and things like that in order to get this to happen, but it is possible. This AI is very manipulative if you would like to go that route. Now, I also want to make some comments on some other things that I saw in the comment section below. All of these tests take with a grain of salt. This is the best way that we can actually test right now. We tried to funnel them into a 1-by-1 area before we let them out this time. We tried to be as accurate as we possibly could. And if you guys have any suggestions of how we could better the test, obviously leave them down in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you guys. Also, don't forget that there is a giveaway going on. I will leave a card in the upper right-hand corner if you guys want to go ahead and enter into that. It does end on Monday, the 14th. If you guys want to enter, go ahead and get into that very, very quickly. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the video. If you did not, be sure to leave a dislike. That's fine with me. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe. Anyway, guys, that's all for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. You guys have a great day.